What does the future hold for the Battlefield franchise? Will it once again, for the third time in a row, try to return to its roots and fail spectacularly, or will it rise like a phoenix from the ashes and enter a new golden age? Despite whatever improvements have been made to 2042, the undeniable truth is that the launch and complete failure of its live service model has permanently damaged the brand of Battlefield, a series that was already kind of on the back foot from the backlash to Battlefield 5. In this video, I wanted to discuss what the future holds for my favorite FPS franchise of all time, and if you enjoy, leave a like and subscribe, as less than 2% of my viewers are actually subscribed. And to those who have, thank you so much for your support. With major content creators dropping the series completely, or in some cases ending their careers as a creator solely due to how bad 2042 was at launch, the franchise was at about the lowest point it's ever been just over a year ago. With a new Battlefield single-player experience already confirmed, the series desperately needs a win. But with Battlefield 2042 supposedly being the return to form in the era of Battlefield 3 and 4 and failing spectacularly in that, what can the franchise do next? Do they again tout the next entry as a return to form again? That just feels so awkward to me, so let's step into the role of creative director for Battlefield for a moment and brainstorm together where the series could go next. And in this I want to highlight 3 potential avenues I would consider going down if I was the creative head. Now, whether or not DICE has the internal talent or resources to pull any of these off successfully is highly debatable. It's still fun to brainstorm. So let's start with number 1, my first and safest bet, a Battlefield 3 remaster or remake featuring some Battlefield 4 content. Given where we are right now with the series, this to me is the most surefire and safest option, taking a beloved, if flawed, experience and bringing it to the modern systems with multiple quality of life improvements. Battlefield 3 to me had some of the best maps and content the series has ever had, and with some slight tweaks to the gameplay and a fresh coat of paint, it could be an absolutely incredible experience even now, and would require significantly less effort than a built from the ground up Battlefield game. Don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of work, but major things like map design, weapons and mechanics, and art assets are largely completed already, things that 2042 still struggles with. And yes, while technically Portal could be considered this Battlefield 3 remaster, it's just so underbaked and underwhelming, I think you'd need to basically start over and do a full-fledged remaster. Done correctly, it could be an absolute slam dunk, bringing back nostalgic players who may have abandoned the series long ago, and converting over the active player base from Battlefield 4, which is still alive and well even now. In my opinion, the major flaw in Battlefield's approach the past few years has been its attempts to compete in markets dominated by games like Apex and Fortnite, instead of re-engaging and reinforcing their own existing share of the market. There really aren't that many alternatives to the true Battlefield experience, and disregarding that to try and penetrate more of the wider market is clearly a losing strategy by DICE. Battlefield 3 represents an era in which the series was on top in visual fidelity, audio quality, and just overall hype, and a remaster presents an opportunity to bring back so many beloved features and maps that might just remove some of the recent negative perceptions of the series in the past few years. Now again, this would need to be handled very carefully and be incredibly well done, as Battlefield 3 Remastered from my perspective represents kind of an ace in the hole for DICE, and should only be used in emergencies, sort of like Japan as a setting for Assassin's Creed. That one single carrot they can always dangle to keep fans of the series on the hook. If they did remaster Battlefield 3 and cut content, or didn't include the DLCs, or it was done poorly, or released in a broken state, it would be the equivalent of kicking a fan's beloved puppy. While I'm not sure current DICE could pull it off, I would love to see a well-made Battlefield 3 remaster next for the series. So here's hoping. Let's talk about potential game direction number 2. I'm gonna go with Battlefield Bad Company 3. It's been over a decade since we've seen the lovable scamps of Bad Company, and it's way past time for Battlefield to revisit this incredible side series. Kind of like a Battlefield 3 remaster, a Bad Company 3 has the luxury of not technically being a mainline Battlefield game, and it allows DICE to get a little more experimental and creative and potentially try something new, but also Bad Company 2 maybe more than any other title brought Battlefield to the masses and became a legitimate challenger to the Call of Duty throne. So ideally, a Bad Company 3 could have similar outreach and widespread appeal. And mostly, I just want Bad Company 2's destruction back in all its glory and more. The finals gives us a taste of what large-scale destruction can look like with impressive modern technology, and that with the heavy-hitting, intense, and brutal gameplay of Bad Company is a recipe for success in my mind. If DICE tackled Bad Company 3 with its own unique spin on the Battlefield standard gameplay, I would actually, rather than see a direct continuation of Bad Company 2's setting and story, even though it technically ended on a large cliffhanger, introduce a different era and squad of Bad Company soldiers entirely. Just imagine a Cold War era Bad Company 3, or even a full-blown Vietnam setting as seen in Bad Company 2's expansion. It would just be amazing. However, as badly as I want a Bad Company 3, I just really cannot trust current DICE to tackle it, especially because they don't really know what made Bad Company 2 work, as much as that might pain me to say. Regardless, a well done and fun Bad Company 3 would inject new life into the series almost like nothing else. And lastly, let's talk about the third avenue. I would take the Battlefield series if I were the creative director. The FPS genre is kind of cyclical, going from historical World War II to modern day to futuristic and back again. However, it has been over 16 years since the Battlefield franchise has gone truly futuristic and sci-fi, and it's time to return. The market is ready for Battlefield 2143. If the final stand expansion of Battlefield 4 is any indicator, even the slightest hints and references to Battlefield 2142 can produce massive hype among fans. A Battlefield 2143 with cutting-edge technology to fully realize the setting last seen in 2006, with massive titans, walkers, railguns, and more, on a scale never before seen in a Battlefield game, would be insanely epic. Just imagine the care and atmosphere crafted into Battlefield 1 into a dark and bleak futuristic setting with humanity and civilization on the brink of collapse, desperately fighting for the last few precious resources available. With the learnings of Battlefront 2 and the failures of 2042, I think DICE has the potential to make something truly special in a sci-fi setting and capitalize on an FPS market that might be more receptive now to a futuristic setting than even just a few years ago. With Call of Duty firmly out of the future for now, it may be time for them to just go for it and create something truly unique among shooters right now. Again, all of this with the caveat that DICE can get their act together, learn from their mistakes, and take the time necessary to create a polished and realized experience. And that kind of goes without saying for all of these avenues. Given the launch state and stripped back features of 2042, I just don't really have that much hope and trust in DICE, but I really do hope they prove me wrong. Like I said, this is my favorite FPS franchise of all time, and so here's hoping they can get it together. And that's it. 3 potential directions I hope and could see the series taking next. Whether or not any of these are even possible is pure speculation, but let me know your thoughts on the future of the Battlefield franchise in the comments below. Do you think the series can experience a comeback, or will they once again fail to return to the glory days of Battlefield? Thanks for watching. That's it for me. Until next time.